Morning, everybody. Today is the 6.1 through 6.4 review day. So this will be a review for your test. So take good notes and you'll do great on your test. Alright, let's get started right away. First one, we have x plus 12 is greater than or equal to negative 5. So what we need to do is get x by itself. So we subtract 12 from both sides. Cross those out because they cancel each other out. X is now greater than or equal to negative 17. This is going to be a closed circle because we have a line underneath this. The arrow is pointing to the right, so we draw an arrow to the right. And don't forget to put the actual answer down here as negative 17. 1 greater than negative 17 is negative 16. And 1 less is negative 18. Next problem, we have m divided by 4 is greater than or equal to negative 3. The opposite of division is multiplication, so we need to multiply by 4. And multiply by 4 over on this side. Those will cancel out. What we are left with is m is greater than or equal to negative 12. Again, we have a line underneath our symbol, so we have a closed circle at negative 12. Again, it's pointing to the right, so we draw an arrow to the right. 1 greater is negative 11, 1 less is negative 13. Over here, we have a key for you to tell if it's open circle or closed circle. The two with the line underneath it are closed, without the line it's open. For this problem, we have negative 3k is greater than 21. Opposite of multiplication is division, so we need to divide by negative 3. So what we are left with is k. Because we divided by a negative number, we need to flip our sign. Remember, when you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number, that you need to flip the sign. So 21 divided by negative 3 is negative 7. It's an open circle at negative 7, pointing to the left this time. So negative 6 is 1 greater, and negative 8 is 1 less. Now make a note of this on your notes. If you are multiplying or dividing by a negative number, flip the sign, flip the symbol. Make a note of that on your note so you don't forget it on your test. So if you are multiplying or dividing by a negative number, flip the symbol. Last problem on this side, we need to get x by itself, so we need to add 9 to both sides. What we're left with is 19 is less than or equal to x. Now we need to get the variable on the left side, so we need to flip the whole problem. X is now going to be greater than or equal to 19. So if the variable's on the right, flip the whole problem. Close circle because we got a line underneath it at 19, pointing to the right. 1 greater is 20, 1 less is 18. Next one, we have two p's here, so we need to combine them. Negative 4p minus 6p is negative 10p, which is less than or equal to 10. To get p by itself, we have to divide by negative 10 and divide by negative 10. P is now going to be greater than or equal to negative 1. Because we divided by a negative 10, we had to flip the sign. So this is going to be a closed circle at negative 1. 1 greater is 0, 1 less is negative 2. And our arrow is pointing to the right, so we draw an arrow to the right. Next one, our first step is to get rid of this 28, so we subtract 28 from both sides. What we have left is 4n is less than negative 28. So to get n by itself, we divide by 4 and divide by 4. N is now less than negative 7. We don't flip the sign because we didn't divide by a negative number. We divided by a positive number, so we leave the sign the same. This is going to be an open circle at negative 7. 1 greater is negative 6, 1 less is negative 8. This time our arrow is pointing to the left, so we draw an arrow to the left. Over here, we have to combine our two n's. 6n minus 2n is 4n. So we have 20 is less than or equal to 4n. To get n by itself, we need to divide by 4. Divide by 4. We get 20 divided by 4, which is 5. Is less than or equal to n. The variable is on the right, so we need to flip the problem to get the variable on the left. So we get n is greater than or equal to 5. Because we have a line underneath it, it's going to be a closed circle at 5. 1 greater is 6, 1 less is 4. So our arrow is going to the right, because we have an arrow pointing to the right. Here we have another two-step problem, or multi-step problem. We have variables on both sides, a variable here and a variable here. What we need is we need a variable side and we need a constant side. So we need to move all our variables over to the variable side. So we subtract y and subtract y. (5y minus y). If we just have a y without a number in front of it, we can put a 1 there. So 5y minus 1y is 4y. Now we need to move our constants over to our constant side. So the opposite of negative is plus 8 and plus 8 on this side. Our sign stays the same. 4 plus 8 is 12. Now to get y by itself, we need to divide by 4. So what we're left with is y is greater than or equal to 12 divided by 4, which is 3. Close circle at 3. 1 greater is 4, 1 less is 2. Arrow is now pointing to the right. So we draw an arrow to the right. What this means is that our answer can be anything from 3 and up. So 3 or greater. Our next problem, we have some parentheses here, so we need to get rid of those. We do that by drawing our box. Three goes out front here. W plus 6 goes on top. 3 times W is 3W. 3 times 6 is 18. Then we got to bring these down out of the box. We're left with 3W plus 18 plus 3W is less than or equal to 24. Our next step is to combine the like terms. We have 3W and 3W, so we combine those two. 3 plus 3 is 6. W plus 18 is less than or equal to 24. To get rid of this 18, we have to subtract. So we subtract 18 and subtract 18. What we're left with is 6W is less than or equal to 24 minus 18, which is 6. Last step, we need to divide by 6 to get W by itself. And what we're left with is W is less than or equal to 6 divided by 6, which is 1. So W is less than or equal to 1. Close circle because of our line underneath. At 1, 1 greater is 2, 1 less is 0. Our arrow is now pointing to the left. So we draw an arrow to the left. Alright, here we have an AND inequality. Our x is in the middle. This x is being shared by two problems. What we need to do is we need to split them into two. So if we split this problem up, we get negative 4 is less than x. We can't leave it like that because the x is on the right side. The x needs to be on the left side, so we need to flip the whole problem. So flip the x is on this side now, flip the sign, so it's now greater than negative 4. The next problem, we have to split it, is x is less than 2. This one is just fine because the variable is on the left, and we have a 2 on the right, or a constant on the right. So we got to look for the smaller one. Negative 4 is smaller than 2, so negative 4 is going to go on the left side. An open circle. Our arrow is pointing to the right, so we draw an arrow to the right. Next one is our 2, another open circle. This time our arrow is pointing to the left. So we draw an arrow to the left. What this is saying is that x can be anything in between negative 4 and 2. So it could be 0. It could be 1. It could be negative 2. Anything in between negative 4 and 2. If we continue with AND inequalities, we have one where it says 10 is less than or equal to negative 2y plus 4, which is less than or equal to 24. So because we have multiple things in the middle, we need to draw a line down from both of our symbols. First thing we need to do is get rid of this 4. We subtract the 4. What we do in the middle, we have to do to both sides. So subtract 4 from both sides. What we have left in the middle is negative 2y. Ten minus 4 is 6, which is less than or equal to 2y. 24 minus 4 is 20. So now we need to get y by itself by dividing by negative 2. So divide everything by negative 2. What we're left with on this side is negative 3. Now we divided by a negative number, so we need to flip our sign. Y is what's left in the middle. Now we divided by another negative number, so we need to flip our sign again. 20 divided by negative 2 is negative 10. Now split this up into two problems. Here's one. I'm going to make our page a little bit bigger so we have some more room. So this is negative 3 is greater than or equal to y. Y has to be on the left, so we need to flip it yet again. So y is now going to be less than or equal to negative 3. On this side of our problem, we need to split that up, and we get y is greater than or equal to negative 10. Now be careful when you're graphing these to which one is smaller. Negative 10 is smaller than negative 3, so that means negative 10 is going to go on the left. So negative 10 here, and our arrow is pointing to the right. We draw an arrow to the right. Now negative 3 is larger, so we draw another or closed circle at negative 3, and an arrow pointing to the left this time. An arrow pointing to the left. And our last problem is going to be an OR inequality. So an OR inequality is going to face opposite directions. So I'm just going to draw a little squiggly line here to separate our two problems. Let's take this one at a time. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of this 1. We need to subtract 1. And subtract 1 over here. So those cancel out. We're left with 3h is less than negative 5 minus 1, which is negative 6. Divide by 3 to get h by itself. So we get h is less than negative 2. Over here, we need to get rid of the 5 first. So we need to add 5, which is the opposite of minus. So add 5 to both sides. Those cancel, so what we're left with is 2h is greater than 7 plus 5, which is 12. To get h by itself, we need to divide by 2, and divide by 2. h is now greater than 12 divided by 2, which is 6. So the smaller one is -2, so that goes on the left. It's an open circle at -2, pointing to the left. So we draw an arrow to the left. And an open circle at 6 with our arrow pointing to the right. So we draw an arrow to the right. So that's our OR inequality. We can tell that it's an OR because it has the word OR, and it's pointing in opposite directions. These will never touch. What this is saying is that x can be anything that is less than -2 or greater than 6. Alright, those are your review notes. Good luck on your test.